Okay, you guys, this first topic is not hit much on the AP test. I want to expose us to it. I think that we're going to be fine on these. The AP question that I did find, I found one AP question on this topic. That's it. But I wanted to expose it to you, and then we're going to boot, scoot, and boogie right on along. So, you guys learned about direct variation and inverse variation back in algebra. Direct variation is when one thing goes up, the other goes up. For example, the more you study, what typically happens? The better your grades, right? The less you study, the worse your grades, okay? That'd be a direct variation. As one goes up, the other goes up. What's another real world example? The more you eat,
the more you fat.
The more you fat, the less you eat, the less you fat. Typically, are these going to be linear? No, not necessarily, but in traditionally, right? So direct variation is going to be any k constant times something. Because if I multiply this x by a number, this side's going to go up, and therefore this side would go up. Inverse variation is when one goes up, the other goes down. What would be an example of that? The more you work out, the less you fat, the less you weigh, maybe. You know what I mean? Is it always linear like that? No, but maybe typically. Or the less you work out, the more you fat. What else?
The more you shop, the less you have in your bank.
Yeah, totally. The more clothes I buy, the less money I have.
Yeah.
The less clothes I buy, the more money I have, yeah?
The more sleep you get, the less tired you are.
Ooh, I like that. More sleep, less tired. What about the higher the temperature, the less the amount of snow?
Wow.
The lower the temperature, the more the snow? For my ski clubbers, hashtag Thursday. Inverse variation is one goes up, the other goes down. So if you would divide that constant by something, that means that this side gets smaller as this side gets bigger. Okay, so to answer something like this, it says, these are, again, from AP Classroom, and then I'm going to show you the AP exam question. But particle moves along a straight line. Its speed varies inversely. Inverse means there has to be division in it. Do you see on all four of these there's division in them? Okay. Proportional to the square of the distance of s. Speed. Do you think speed would be s or ds dt? Speed is a rate. So I agree, it's going to be a ds dt. I'm getting rid of a and b. It is inversely proportional, so we've got to divide the square of s. D. I agree. How about this guy? An IV is administered medication to a patient at a rate of 3 cubic centimeters per hour. At the same time, the organs remove this medication from the bloodstream at a rate proportional. When it's proportional, that means it's going to be kx as opposed to k over x. When it's just proportional, we're multiplying to the volume. Anyone have any idea?
B.
Well,
I was thinking D.
say that again?
I was thinking D. Wait, actually, never mind. Wait,
I was
I
thinking
don't
C.
know. I'm just throwing out letters. I'm like,
Well, I haven't heard the right answer yet.
A.
It's A. Okay, let's talk about why it's A. Okay, good. That's good. He's like, that was my fourth and final guess. If it's going in at 3, it's just that's what it's entering the bloodstream at, right? It's not being multiplied by anything. It's just going in at 3 cubic centimeters per hour. And then at the same time, it's being removed. You guys knew that there's going to be a negative. And then at a proportional rate to the volume. So that proportional is going to be my constant times that V. Okay? Again, do not lose sleep on this topic. Am I going to test you on this? No, because I literally have no other AP questions to pull from. Okay, puppy gains weight. W gains weight W at a rate inversely proportional to its age. Puppy gains weight at a rate. Do you agree these are all rates? Okay, so that's not going to help us. He says inversely proportional, so we have to divide. So I agree C and A are out, Lobble. Yeah, and you're saying, careful, it's inversely proportionate to its age and time, T. So I do like B. Okay, the warming or cooling rate of a drink is proportional proportional. So we're multiplying to the difference between the ambient temp and the current temp. What does ambient temp mean?
Outside, just
The surrounding temperature of that cup. Because if I put my cup of tea out in a 10-degree day versus in this 70-degree room, it's going to change its temperature at a different rate. Okay, warming or cooling rate of a drink. Rate. Do we care about T or DT, DT? Yeah. Do you like that as DT, DT? Okay. Varies proportionally.
would be D since it's multiplying.
Yeah, right there. You're like, proportional means it's not inverse. So this is dividing. So it's got to be D. And you agree difference means subtract. So I feel good about it. Whoops. From 2012, literally the last time I could find one of these questions. And my science people often do better on this than my non-sciencey people. P is the size of a population at time t. Which of the following differential equations describes linear growth of the size of the population? Growth. You said it's not E. You agree that these are all then have rates with them. I agree with that. Linear. What don't we like about C?
The square.
Or yeah, that's not going to be linear, right? I know.
Is
It's
it
B.
D? Is it A? Yeah.
It's A. It's A.
Wait, how do you? Is it just? Wait.
Say that again, Lucal.
It's just like this or something.
So it's saying the rate is just this constant rate. The population is the size, P is the size of the population, which the following differential equations describes the linear growth in the size of the population. That rate is just a constant growth. Ugh, I hate that question. I think that's ugly. Again, is this going to make or break your AP test score? And not at all. I doubt that this is even going to be on it because this is the last time I could find a practice question about it.
Like 10 of them.
What I do like about 7.2 is it's nothing really new. We're kind of circulating back to just some derivative rules. Notice that I don't have any integrals going on. So we're going to focus on derivatives. And here's what they're asking. It says, hey, verify this equation is a solution to y double prime plus 4y equals 0. And what they're saying is go find out what is y double prime, add 4 of this y equation to it, and see if we get 0. So this is just a good little reminder of like, let's try to write derivatives. We haven't had to do big ones like this recently. Derivative of 4 cosine. Negative 4 sine. The 4 is just chilling, you guys. The derivative of cosine is negative sine, so you just threw that negative out front. I love that. Leave the angle times the derivative of the angle. Beautiful. That's our chain rule. Good review on here. Derivative of 6 sine. 6 cosine, leave the angle, times 2. Very good. Let's simplify that before we go find y double prime. What would y prime be? Negative 8 sine of 2x plus 12 cosine of, beautiful. You guys, that's y prime, but they want to know is y double prime plus 4y is equal to 0. We got to go do this again, y'all. Let's go find y double prime. Y double prime, derivative of negative 8 sine.
Negative 8 cosine.
Very good. Negative 8 cosine. Leave the angle.
Minus 12.
Times 2, right?
Yeah. Then minus 12 sine.
The derivative of 12 cosine would be negative 12 sine of the angle times the derivative of the angle. Good. I'm going to simplify that before I go use it all. Do we agree it's going to be negative 16 cosine of 2x minus 24 sine of 2x? You guys, if we take our y double prime and we add that to 4y's, what would 4y get me? I'm just going to put it right here because I got to take this and add it to 4y. What would 4y get me? What's 4 times that? 16 cosine of 2x. And 4 times this guy?
24 sine.
Yeah, 24 sine of 2x. You guys, when I add these up, am I going to get 0? When I add these two, wouldn't everything cancel out? So you're like, yup, verified. They said verify it. I don't know if you remember doing any of this in pre-calc when we had to do like, oh, cosecant times sine equals tangent. Things like that. And you just had to verify. We just proved it. Okay. We're going to do A and B. We're not even going to do C down here. Then this is how AP is going to ask it. Then I'm going to let you work on some homework and we're done. Okay. Determine whether the given function is a solution to this equation. They want to know what f double prime minus my original function. Let's see if it's 0. It might or might not be. When they say verify, it has to be. This one might or might not be. Let's go find f prime here. What's f prime of x? Sine. Nice. What's f double prime? Nice. Is f double prime minus f going to be 0?
Yep.
Wouldn't it be cosine minus negative cosine? That would be 2 cosines, right?
That's 2 cosines.
Yeah. So this one's a no. Let's try B. F prime of x. The derivative of 2e to the negative x is 2e to the negative x, right? Wait, e is always just chill. Times the derivative of its exponent. Yes, ma'am. If I were to simplify that, you down with negative 2e to the negative x? Let's go find f double prime. Don't overthink it, y'all. The derivative of the e anything, everything stays. Negative 2e to the negative 2x. Oops, to the negative x, my bad. Times the derivative of that upper exponent, which is negative 1. That would be 2e to the negative x. Is f double minus f going to get me 0? Thumbs up. You're like, yeah, 2e to the negative x minus 2e to the negative x is 0. Check. Last one. This is how AP is going to ask it. They say, here's y. It's a particular solution to which of the following. Unfortunately, this is like a guess and check, you guys. Meaning, we got to go get, looks like, do you agree, a y prime and a y double prime? Okay, let's go get y prime. What's y prime going to be? 2e to the 6x, I love that, times, beautiful. Derivative of negative 5? 0. So what's that going to equal? 12e to the 6x. Okay, what's the y double prime going to be then? 12e to the 6x times 6. 12 times 6, 12, 24, 36.
72.
72, very good. E to the 6x. Okay, y'all. All we do is you just have to plug and chug now. It's not really guess and check, it's a plug and chug. We're going to go plug what we got into each of them and see which one equals 0. It'll only equal 0 and 1. Is there one you want to start on?
Does it have to be C or C on that?
Does it have to be C?
Well, because all the other things have constants on the outside.
Touche. Let's go see if it has to be C. Let's go try C. On C, y double prime, do you agree with 72 e to the 6x? Minus 5 y primes, minus 5 of this guy. 5 of this guy, 5 times 12, 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. So minus 60 e to the 6x. So I've done that and that. And then minus 6 of this guy. Minus 6 of this guy. I'm even going to write it out. Minus 6 of 2e to the 6x minus 5. We got to go see, does that equal 0?
So 12e to the 6x minus 30.
Yeah, wouldn't this be 72 minus 60 is 12 minus 12? Those will cancel out.
Yeah, but they're so close.
And then there's what?
Or minus.
Wait.
Plus.
It'd actually be a plus 30, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not going to equal 0. So C is not it.
So it can't be something other than C.
Yeah, can be something. It has to be.
D?
Gosh, D's a lot to plug in.
Okay, I'll take
Let's
that
go,
as
A. Yeah.
I'll take that.
I'm going to save you guys some time. Let's start with A. What's y prime? Y prime we said was 12e to the 6x minus 6 y's. What's 6 times this going to get me? Let's write it out. 6 of that guy?
12e to the 6x.
12e to the 6x. 6 of that guy. Be careful.
Plus 30.
Boop.
Because of
Oh, shoot, it was a minus 6. Minus 6, minus 6. It is plus 30. Elliot, what would I do without you? Then what do I have here?
minus 30.
Minus 30, Elliot, does that get a 0?
Yep.
Yeah, only one of them will, and thank goodness it's A.